So what will the blowback of what we're seeing in Libya and in Syria be? And who could benefit? Those are the big questions that emerged that I want to bring up with Pepe Escobar. He joins us now from Asia Times. He is with us in Brazil. Thank you for being here. So first, I kind of want to start with Libya. I want to start with what we've seen in the last 24 hours. We see British Tornado jets firing cruise missiles at Gaddafi's compound in Sirte, even though the coalition said that it wouldn't assist the rebels in hunting Gaddafi down. Now the British Defense Minister defends this move. My question to you, is this a violation of the UN resolution that NATO is operating under?
Well, the UN resolution has been violated for the past 5 months, in fact. But look, very important, breaking news for you guys. I just confirmed a few hours ago, in fact. Guess who is the de facto military commander of Tripoli as we speak? I'll give you a name. I'm gonna guess that it's gonna have something to do with the United States.
No.
His name is Abdul Hakim Belhadj, and he is an Al-Qaida asset.
Whoa. Back up.
Okay, so
what are you saying here? What are you saying here? Break this down for me.
Let's get the story straight. This is the guy who organized the Berbers in the southwest mountains, southwest of Tripoli, the offensive last Saturday. He was the military commander of this offensive. So he was working in connection with the guys who came from Misrata to the shores of Tripoli, NATO bombardment, the Qatari Special Forces, the British SAS, etc. But how did this guy show up in the western Berber mountains? So we have to backtrack to 9/11. He was trained in Afghanistan. He was an Al-Qaida asset, part of a very hardcore Salafist Islamist Libyan group called the Islamist Libyan group, exactly, translating from the French, in fact. And he was tracked by the CIA after 9/11. He was friends with Zarqawi. He was captured in Malaysia in 2003. He was tortured in Bangkok, where I lived at the time, in one of those extraordinary rendition CIA prisons in Bangkok. He was sent back to the Libyans. He made a deal with Saif al-Islam in 2009. He was released, and now he's the military commander of Tripoli. Can you believe this story?
He is the military commander for the Transitional National Council in Tripoli?
Yes. So your correspondent in Tripoli could get this story in the next few hours herself, you know.
Well, we will continue to follow the latest on that. But Pepe, if that is the case, and these are from, who are your sources? These are who?
They are good. They are connected with jihadists, you know. So I had to get information from Pakistan, from, you know, Iraqi people, reconfirm it. And I can say almost for sure with 95% certainty, this is the guy.
If this is the case, Pepe, if this is the case...
I'm going to write an article Monday about this, in fact, explaining how he ended up in this position.
And people will have to check that out. But, Pepe, the question is, if this is really the case, the United States has been working with the Transitional National Council. We know that the CIA has been in the country. So they would have to know this, right?
Of course they have to know it, but they've been working together from the start. Because, you know, south of Benghazi, in a place called Derna, this is a place that most Libyans that were part of the jihadi training camps in Afghanistan, they came from this part of Libya. That's why people in Tripoli, they look at Cyrenaica and they see a bunch of country bumpkins. And this is true. This is something that your correspondents in Libya can see by themselves as well. And they also see a bunch of Salafi jihadists. But from the beginning, when the whole February 17th movement was hijacked by the NATO powers, by the US, by military defectors from Tripoli, everybody was working together, including the Salafi jihadists. That's why we don't know what's going to happen next.
And now you're saying...
they can become a guerrilla force as well.
Right, and it sounds like you're saying they are taking the lead. But what's interesting is, I think what's interesting, we're seeing British planes that are bombing Sirte. These aren't, you know, U.S. drones, at least that we know of. Is the Obama administration distancing itself from these rebels? We've heard Secretary of State Clinton too say, "Hey guys," or what I'm paraphrasing, say, "Hey, watch with the revenge. Like, don't go out killing everybody now."
And in fact, the Obama administration is extremely embarrassed because now even Reuters is running stories of massacres on both sides. And today, this was on the cover of the New York Times as well.
Right.
So this means...
So do you think that the Obama administration is distancing itself from this entire conflict?
Definitely. Now they're saying, look, this is a TNC war in conjunction with NATO. And we have nothing to do with it. And it's not true, obviously, because all the surveillance, satellite information, the best qualified information comes directly from the Pentagon to the NATO commanders that bases in Naples.
Right, and then you mentioned, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your tongue, but you mentioned the reports that are coming out that don't make the rebels look so good. There's been reports of slaughtered Gaddafi supporters in what look like a tent city. They look like activists. The mainstream media has characterized these rebels as liberators. Now these reports challenging that, how are the rebels going to preserve their image in the United States? Who are they going to look to?
Look, it's impossible. And the bombing of Sirte that you mentioned in the beginning of our report, can you believe that NATO is bombing civilian infrastructure in Sirte, which is a relatively big city? And these bombs are so smart that the Sirte civilians are not going to be touched. Nobody can believe something like this.
No one can believe something. We're almost out of time, but K Street lobbyists, they've been hired to represent the Transitional National Council. So that money that the Transitional National Council is looking to unfreeze of the Libyan assets and that could come back to Washington in the form of lobbying, right?
Part of it is going to Peyton Buck. So I'm going to launch a war today, Lauren. So, and tomorrow I'm gonna get a bunch of rebels somewhere, maybe in Burma, for instance, Myanmar. And tomorrow my war is going to be on the front page of every media in the United States as legitimate.
Right.
It's very easy.
You got to have the dough, though. They're getting it, though. It looks like. I saw $50,000 a month for one lobbyist was the cap.
It's going to be much more.
All right. Well, Pepe, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for the news that you broke here. And we'll look for your report on Monday and hopefully get to talk to you about Syria soon. That was Asia Times correspondent Pepe Escobar.